Hey, my name is Amy and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is all about the speed shoes in my current rotation and how I use them. I've been wanting to do this video for a while, so I'm pretty excited to finally share all the shoes that I use, and if you're looking to get a speed shoe, maybe this might help you in picking one as there's so many out there. I don't own every speed shoe as there's a lot and I don't want to buy all of them. Actually, I do want to buy all of them. My bank account does not agree with me. But that's besides the point. So what I'm going to do is just talk about each shoe and the information or specs about them and how I like to use it in my weekly training schedule for speed workouts. So it could be for intervals or tempos. So I will kind of go into details about that. If you haven't already, click the subscribe button and the bell icon so you get notified every time I upload a new video. So let's talk about some fast shoes. So the first speed shoe I'm going to talk about is probably one of my favorites, I'm not gonna lie, and that is the Saucony Endorphin Speed. It's just so pretty. This is the Future Black edition, so I think it's very cool looking. Saucony has an Endorphin collection which is comprised of 3 different shoes. It's made up of the Shift, which is for easy longer runs, the Speed for speed workouts, and the third is the Pro for race day. This Endorphin collection has been so popular, especially the Speed, which I will mention why I think it's so awesome later on, but it's been really cool that they have this kind of collection that kind of works together and has a shoe for every type of run that you do. Exclusive to the Endorphin collection is their Speed Roll technology. This Speed Roll helps you be more efficient as it helps you from the heel toe transition rolls, like their Speed Roll, so very aptly named, but the Speed Roll is really cool to run in. I own the Shift as well as the Speed, not the Pro, but I have run in the Pro and it's an awesome shoe, and I will most likely, yes, purchase the Pro soon or someday, but it's the Speed Roll is just really unique and awesome to run in. The cool thing about the Speed is that it has a nylon plate inside its midsole. What's special about this is that most other shoes that I run in that are plated are carbon fiber plated. So the nylon plate still gives you that stiffness, but it's not as hard on your joints as, again, the carbon fiber plate. Don't get me wrong, I love carbon fiber plated shoes. It's just nice that to have the option of the Speed that has the nylon plate in it, so I don't feel as bad about using it a little more frequently because it's not as hard on my body. I find the cushioning so bouncy and so comfortable to run in, and just I find it has enough cushioning that I don't feel like I'm pounding on, like, you know, some speed shoes have a little less cushioning, but this I could do longer runs in for sure, yet it's not like too squishy that I just feel like I'm sinking into it either. It actually uses their Power Run PB cushioning in the midsole. They have their different kind of Power Run, different kind of foams they use in their shoes, but this one is pretty responsive. The Speed has been winning awards and it's just probably one of my favorite shoes. The traction on the Speed is awesome. I definitely wouldn't worry about my grip in these, which is great because especially, well, in the winter, that's hopefully gone now if it doesn't snow again, but I would use this shoe and wouldn't have to worry. So it's nice having a shoe that, again, has a good grip, because some of my other speed shoes, they just like, I feel like they just have no grip on them. So this is pretty cool about the Speed, is that it has good traction on it. A few specs about the Speed is that it has an 8mm drop. As well, it weighs 6.8 ounces. It has a nylon plate inside of it. I like using this for intervals and tempo runs. And my favorite thing about it is the cushioning. Why I use this shoe for intervals, for example, is that I feel like I can get good kind of turnover in it in the faster speeds, but as well for tempo runs, I find it has enough cushioning for especially those like 20+ kilometer tempo runs that you just hold for steady state, or you know, you're holding paces longer than an interval workout. I feel like it can do both, which is awesome. I probably should have gone up a half size in the Speed, as I find it a little snugger than, say, how the Ride fits, for example. So I wear 7.5 and that's what I got, but if I ever buy the Pro or if I get these again, I probably would get a size 8. Such a great shoe, and if you haven't tried it already, I highly recommend giving this one a try. The next shoe I'm going to talk about is the New Balance Fuel Cell TC. I did a video about this before and I'll have a link in the description below comparing this to the Zoom Fly, which sadly I had to retire because it was dead and it was too small for me. I just apparently don't know my shoe size sometimes, or when I bought that shoe. But anyways, I love my Zoom Fly and I miss it, but I still have these. I forget how many kilometers I have on them now, but I'll put it right here in the video. But the fuel cells, I got these last year in, I think, June. It uses their fuel cell foam, which I find super bouncy and super responsive. At first when I put it on, I was like, felt like I was like on pillows running around. So it's still comfortable, even holding up to the couple hundred at least kilometers I put on these shoes. I like the upper on it. I find it just really stylish, and like the foam is sparkly. You can't really tell, but the midsole has a little sparkle to it. New Balance made this for racing, but mostly for training. So it does have a carbon fiber plate in it, and it really gives you that snappiness that you need for quick turnovers and for faster efforts. Though I love the cushioning on these, I do find it a little unstable going around corners. I wouldn't really take a corner too sharply, as just the stack height, I think it's like 30 centimeters. 30 millimeter, yeah, centimeters, 30 millimeters. It's a little higher, but again, I just, for some reason, just find it a little unstable around corners. The traction as well is kind of just like, it's kind of dirty, but the traction is pretty, there's not a lot there to give you a lot of grip. So if it's rainy or if it's a little slippery out, I probably wouldn't use or wouldn't run these. I love using the fuel cell for my steady state runs or my tempo runs. I find I really feel the effect of the carbon fiber plate, especially just in this shoe, really helpful in tempo runs, especially when I'm getting tired by the end of, maybe if I'm holding a certain pace for a while or a couple kilometers. I just find this helpful, and I just enjoy this the most doing my tempo runs in. You can use this for intervals, but myself personally, I just, with the kind of unstableness of it and the stopping and starting of intervals and going around corners if you're on a track, I probably wouldn't feel as comfortable in this shoe, so I only use it for my tempo runs. For some reason, I got this fuel cell in a size 8. Again, I don't know what I was thinking about shoe sizes, but I'm a 7.5 for sure, like most shoes, but I don't actually mind it. It is a little longer. I probably could get away with a 7.5, but I don't feel like my foot's sliding around, so I probably could have got away with a 7.5, but the 8 is okay. A few specs about the fuel cell is that it has a 10 mil heel drop. It weighs about 7 or so ounces. It has a carbon fiber plate inside of it. I use it for tempo runs, and my favorite thing about it is the cushioning and the plate, of course. The next shoe I'm going to talk about is the HOKA Oni Carbon X2. This is another recent speed shoe that I got, and I really like that it has the carbon fiber plate in it, and it's super lightweight, and I like the other HOKA shoes, so I wanted to see how this one compared to the other speed shoes and just HOKA in general. I've only done a few runs in them, and so far I'm liking it. I find the cushioning, they use their ProFly cushioning in the Carbon X2 a little firmer, for example, than the speeds or the fuel cells. It has a nice snappiness to it, which is really great for, you know, getting that turnover, but again, it's a little firmer. I'm not sure I would want to do a super long distance in it, though. I know other runners have, and I just personally, I think, like having a little bit more of a kind of a softer cushioning. However, it's super lightweight. It's really comfy on the foot. I did personally go down a half size in this shoe, as I find HOKA shoes, just for myself personally, fit longer than other shoes. So I usually wear a 7.5, and in the HOKA I wear a 7. And that's pretty across the board in the Cliftons and the Bondis and the Machs 4 that I own, and I'm gonna talk about the Mach 4 in a second, but size 7. I'm not a huge fan of the tongue. This also is kind of the same as in the fuel cell. Like, it kind of bunches up a little bit, and it takes a couple seconds to kind of get it laying flat against the up top of my foot, and once it's in, it's fine, but I'm not a huge fan just of the tongue. That's my personal opinion. I mostly use the HOKAs for my interval runs. I don't know if I'd want to do a 20-kilometer tempo run, and maybe that might change after the more I use it. It might soften up a little bit. I'll keep you posted. So for now, I'm just gonna use it for shorter speed workouts. They've started doing this like extended heel, kind of almost like they're their HOKA Clifton Edge. I'm not sure exactly why they have these divots in it, but I do like the kind of jutted out end, as that I find it helps me really get to my heel to toe transition even more efficiently. In the Carbon X2, it has an aggressive meta rocker, which again just helps you with that heel to toe transition and just help you turn over faster and just more efficiently. The upper is really breathable. I don't think my foot would overheat in this. I haven't run in the dead of summer yet, but everything's just really light about it. A few specs about the Carbon X2 is that it has a 5mm heel drop, so lower than the other two speed shoes that I've mentioned already in this video. It also weighs 7 ounces, so a little less than the fuel cells, but not as light as the speeds. It has a carbon fiber plate inside of it. I only use this for intervals or shorter runs, though that might change the more I run in it, but I think I mostly will keep it to shorter distances. My favorite thing about it is the carbon fiber plate. It does give you that snappiness and stiffness, and it is very light on my foot when I'm running in it, so I really appreciate that when I'm trying to run fast. Another shoe that I have in my speed shoe rotation, and that is the trusty, good old New Balance 1400s. These are just OGs, I call them, or I think about them. They are so light, so fun to run in. They have no plate inside of them, and it's just New Balance's kind of speed, or it's more on their track kind of collection, but these are pretty fun, and it's just nice to have a shoe that doesn't have a carbon fiber plate in it. I think it's good not to always run in a carbon fiber plate, as it just, I don't know, keeps me honest or keeps me grounded, as I just don't need a plate to run fast. It is very nice, it does help, but some days I want to go without any plate. The traction on the 1400 is amazing. I love the grip. It's, yeah, so grippy. Again, I would not worry about running in kind of slippery or wet conditions in these. They're just so grippy. I really can feel the ground in these. Like, I just feel I'm not like floating on top of the ground. I just really am, yeah, feel the ground when I run, and that's really nice, especially when you're running fast. Just something about just getting that kind of turnover and just feeling it as you run, if that makes sense. I just really, really appreciate and really like about these shoes. It's breathable, uses their Rev-like cushioning, so different than their fresh foam cushioning. It's a little firmer. Honestly, I wouldn't run over like 14 kilometers in these shoes, as they just don't have a lot of cushioning to take the impact. So I only use these for shorter speed workouts, like intervals again, or just different speed workouts, not tempo runs, as usually my tempo runs are a little longer, so I want to keep these for those fast, short, snappy runs that I just want to not run in a plate. I did run in the winter in them, and I did find the cushioning got harder in the cold. I don't know if that's just me being crazy, but I found it really kind of hard to run on, so I think I'll stick to wearing these like spring, summer, maybe not the fall or winter, because it just, yeah, it was a little uncomfortable to run in, because it just, yeah, just felt like I was just basically running on the ground, and that's not a nice feeling when you don't want to be running on the ground. A few specs about the 1400 is that it has a 10mm heel drop. It weighs about 6 ounces, so probably actually is the lightest shoe that I have in my speed shoe rotation. No plate, nothing, nada. So that's cool. I use these for short speed workouts, so again, nothing personally over 14 kilometers or so. My favorite thing about them is how fast I feel in them. I think I have around 300 kilometers in them, so they're near the end of their life, but I really enjoy running in the 1400s. And lastly, I have the Mach 4s from HOKA Oni. These are so light, they are really comfortable, and I'm really happy that I have these in my shoe rotation. So the Mach 4 is really cool. This is their latest version of it, and it uses the ProFly cushioning, and it hails a lot to, for example, the Carbon X2. So you can kind of see that they both have that kind of jutted out back. They have very similar uppers to them. Again, the Mach 4 is actually a little lighter because it doesn't have any plate inside of it, but it's very, very similar kind of design, which I thought was very interesting. At first, I was a little confused of what the Mach 4 was really designed for, but after running it a bit more, I really like using it for not only just like easy runs if I'm just going for recovery or just easy run, but I also like doing some kind of shorter tempo and fast stuff in it as well. So I won't do every tempo run in this shoe, but it is a really good option if you want something, again, with no plate in it, has a little bit more cushioning than, let's say, the 1400, so if you want to do a slightly longer tempo, this is a great option. It's also like less expensive than, say, some of these speed shoes that can rack up over $200. So this is a really cool option if you don't want to get a plated shoe, but you want something that's light and responsive. The Mach 4 would be a really cool option, so just keep that in mind. A few specs about the Mach 4 is that it has a 5mm heel drop. It weighs 7.1 ounces. Actually, I was mistaken earlier. It just, in my mind, it still feels lighter, so maybe it's just, again, all in my mind, but I find that the Mach 4 is just a little lighter. Has no plate inside of it, but uses their performance cushioning. I like to do shorter tempo runs in this, or just easy runs. And one of my favorite things about it is just how light they are. The upper on the Mach 4 is super breathable, super comfy, and again, I went down a half size. I mentioned that before, but most HOKA shoes I go down to a 7, so this is also a 7. What speed shoes do you have in your current rotation? Have you tried any of the shoes that I've mentioned in this video? Or do you have a shoe suggestion for me to try after I burn through one of these speed shoes, which, let's be real, will be probably pretty soon, so I would love any suggestions you have. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful if you were trying to decide between speed shoes or if you just were curious about the shoes that I have in my rotation. So if you like this video, tap that thumbs up button. Happy running, and I'll see you next time.